these shows are done like in 7 to 10-day shoots. Their lips are probably like numb from kissing if they have to do a lot of kissing scenes. Like, they're like, oh my God, I gotta kiss another person. You're listening to The Juniper and Elle Show, where two friends chat dramas, movies, and whatever else we're checking out at the moment. Grab a tea or other beverage of choice and come hang out with us as we chat, laugh, and occasionally make sense. Hi, this is Juniper.
Hello, this is Elle.
Welcome to our pod. It has been a long time since we last got together and recorded something, and we've just been really busy. It's not all busy watching dramas, fortunately or unfortunately. I mean, it's been Chinese New Year, so I think we are all like busy, preparing for that. And then Elle unfortunately got sick, hopefully feeling better today.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stuff happening, and in the meantime, we were trying to watch the latest crop of Chinese dramas to see what's out there. So originally, we had planned to talk about just wrapped airing show called How Dare You, 成何体统, with Wang Churan and Chen Lei. But we didn't finish. So instead, by our experience watching How Dare You, which I know is probably different from most people out there because you see online how people love this show, right? It just didn't click for us as much as it did, I think, for everyone else. And it's a head scratcher why, but it could be the genre, it could be some other stuff. But by a accident of, I don't know, fate, whatever, right? We ended up somehow falling into a rabbit hole in short drama land and other lands.
Mm-hmm.
I guess today, rather than having an in-depth discussion, as we sometimes do, of a particular show we have been watching, we're going to make it about kind of our journey, how we started with How Dare You and ended up elsewhere, and kind of our thoughts and reactions along the way. So why don't we start with How Dare You? I actually saw the trailer when it came out a while back, and I thought, hey, the trailer looks good. Like, it's funny, right? It looked very amusing. And it starred actors I like. I like both Chen Lei, Ryan Chen, and Huang Churan. So then I watched it, and I watched it, and I watched it, and I watched it till episode 12, and I was like, I cannot watch this anymore, and I gave up.
It's further than I went. I finished up to episode 5, so...
So why didn't it click for me? I have to think about this, right? Part of it could be, I don't know where the drama is trying to go. Like, I get so the premise of it is really fun. It was very promising premise. Would you agree?
Yes.
Because it's about transmigration. Wang Chuan's character transmigrates into a novel, and basically is her character that she becomes is supposed to be this evil side supporting character, right? Destined for death in the novel. And she teams up with the emperor in the novel, who's supposed to also be a big bad, but he's also turns out to be a transmigrator from modern world. So they partner up to try to change their own fates and change kind of the course of events. So you're like, okay, this is promising, right? You got not just one transmigrator, but two. There's some funny interactions at the beginning, and you kind of go, okay, I want to see where this goes. But at some point, I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but I don't really care. Like, I should care, right? If I'm watching this, I should care, but I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There were some laugh-out moments, but they were, for me, far and few in between. And now this sounds like it could be a genre mismatch for me, because I know that in the past we've also talked about similar premise type of shows like Filter, right? Which a lot of people loved, as well as A Dream Within a Dream. And we didn't love those either. But you know what? I would say that with those two, I can see kind of the cohesion of the product and the comedy and what they're intending to do. It just didn't always resonate. And what really sometimes wasn't so great for me when watching Filter and A Dream Within a Dream was more like the cringe factor in some of the storylines and the characters and the interactions.
Yeah.
Not the actual comedy or the narrative structure of the show. I would say that with How Dare You, I just don't know what they're trying to do. It feels like they're doing pickup sticks. You know what I mean? Like, let's try all of this stuff. It's supposed to be funny. Let's all be, let's all make it fun. But there's not it's not as smooth to me when it's delivered. Yes. So you're like, this is really like random and choppy. Where is this going?
Yeah, it felt clunky to me as well because when I started, I love these types of storylines and we've seen it before, like in when Destiny brings a demon, like like if you have a peppy female lead and then she goes into this other world, like there's so many opportunities for it to be like really hilarious, and I think they did try. I think like first of all, they did visually try to do more stuff because this is based on a web novel. They did a lot of animations and cartoony sound effects. Like they definitely tried to bring that to a different world where you're like it's not set in a realistic world. So you're
Yeah.
constantly reminded that this is sort of has cartoony aspects to it. But I was telling you that when I watched it, and it's based on a web novel which I have not read, but they were saying like, oh, she's a corporate drone, and they mentioned that a couple times in the story. But like in the 5 episodes that I watched, I felt like I don't know if it just took too long to get to the point. I was like, what is the point? Because like sometimes there are missions, right? Some of these stories like there's a mission you need to accomplish, and you're like, okay, so now I'm gonna watch this because I know they're trying to hit certain missions. But here it's just like they just want to stay alive, and I'm like, okay, but like to me the whole storyline with the second female lead with is she one of us, is she not one of us, it just took too long. And I think for comedy, you either want to be laughing the whole time, or if it's a romance, you could do romance. But like, I felt like there was no
Hmm.
romantic chemistry between the leads. I thought they were both very good. I like both actors as well. I
Yes.
even like the second female lead. We liked her in the other drama with Oh Yi.
Yes. Love never fails or something.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the actors in terms of like where was this going. Like to me, it's like I could keep watching it, or it wasn't like, oh, I don't like it. It's just that I don't have to watch it. But if I had nothing else to watch, I can continue.
Well, I think the problem is it's fine. It's okay. Just okay
Yeah.
though is the problem. It's like it's just okay and it didn't make any impression on me and I didn't feel compelled to be like there were parts where I'm like, "Oh, so I knew kind of the story would turn more serious eventually." So I was kept waiting for it and when it started to turn serious, I around like I think episode 6 and later, I was like, "Okay, this has some more, momentum." But then I got to 12 and I was just like, "No, not enough momentum." They got bogged down as far as I'm concerned with so many like the scholar stuff. They got to go find scholars. It became like saving the kingdom. I was like, okay, like this is tiring for me to go through slog through for all of this to kind of get nuggets of something. So it wasn't memorable. That's what I mean. It felt like very frenetic at the beginning and then you're like for frenetic for what, right? Like it's not
Hmm.
all fun frenetic, it's just frenetic for the sake of being busy. And then you're just kind of like I'm waiting for something to settle down, the dust to settle and something to happen that makes a meaningful impact on me and it just didn't get there. And I'm sorry to feel that way because I know everyone else loves it, so I'm like what's wrong with me? Right? Like
Yeah.
something must be
Hmm.
wrong with me, but it's a head scratcher. That said though, that's how we ended up, I think. Well, you accidentally fell into a different rabbit hole with a short drama because you started watching a random short drama that YouTube recommended to you. I was like, oh, wait, I think there is a short drama version of How Dare You. So I went and looked at it because it's on IG and I have a membership. And I was like, wait a minute. The plot points are almost exactly the same. So they did follow the same plot points. And I told you, right, when I watched it, I was like, this is way easier to watch than the long form drama, which is ironic, right? Because short dramas are like they cut corners, right? They're like
Hmm.
vignettes,
Yes.
and they're cheap, like cheaper by far, right? And the actors are not big name stars in the same caliber as the long form. At least not the one I watched, but they're still famous actors in the short drama land. But I was like, I'm having more fun watching the short drama version, and I get more of what's going on watching the short drama because it's tighter.
Yes.
Like the cutting corners was actually good in this instance for me. And I think you're agreeing because you're saying yes, yes, yes. Because they got to the point. They were just like, yeah, let's get rid of all the extra, filler stuff that we don't need to meander and dwell on. Let's just go straight to the here are the main characters, here are the good guys, here's the bad guys. They're all scheming. There's some comedy, haha. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, production value wise, you can tell it's different. The costuming is different. Actually, it was interesting to see them so because it's made by the same company, but the props used, the costumes, like it is a little different. Like even the hot pot scene for me, I don't know if you remember that. The hot pot scene was like the short drama was more traditional with the funnel hot pot, which
Hmm.
is I think more like Beijing northern hot pot style.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, that's interesting that the long form one looks like a modern pot, and then the short drama looked actually more traditional. Even though the when he was pouring wine or whatever, he had the long spout. Like those are very traditional props. Anyways, I just
Wait,
noticed the what?
sorry, before you go on, did you say that
Yeah,
they're made by the same company?
I think they're
I didn't
both
know
by
that.
iQIYI. I think so. Well,
Oh,
not like
well,
same
they're
company,
both
but
on.
they both
Okay,
on iQIYI. Even that.
gotcha.
Oh, so and then the cartoon. So let's jump into the cartoon. So the three
Yes.
versions that we are able to compare. There's the long one that we just talked about. The short drama one, which has like a cheaper production, different actors. Actually, I like the actress who played the main lead in the short drama.
Yes, she has more of the twinkle in her eye that I think you
Yes.
need for the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, we love Wan Churan, but I think she's a little bit too grounded, pretty,
Yes.
traditional, like more dramatic looking. Not dramatic as
Yes.
in like melodramatic, just like normal drama versus comedic drama, right? Dramedy. So I think
Mm.
like there were certain scenes early on in the long form version of How Dare You where she's trying to be like extra, right? Like cute punching and kicking, like we're gonna win, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, I get where she's going, but it didn't really hit the spot in terms of like, oh, she's so spunky or funny or cute.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the short drama version actress is very like lively and bubbly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a different personality, and I think even if you're an actor, if you're not naturally inclined to behave that way, it will come off rehearsed versus like this
Mm-hmm.
is who you are or how you would naturally physically behave. So the cartoon, I think you told me there's a cartoon, so I was like, okay, I'll check that out
Yes, I
too.
did.
And I would say of the three, I actually enjoyed the cartoon the most, which is really weird. I think the voice acting, because you kind of dependent on the voice acting. I think the voice acting is the best in the short in the cartoon.
Oh, I hated the dubbing in the long form. It was so distracting. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to let that off my chest.
No, I agree because even though I'm not fluent in Mandarin, I can still hear, right? I can still hear the
Yeah.
difference, especially when it's the same dialogue delivered three different ways. Like I would say by far the voice acting in the cartoon is the best. If you want to get to the story, it tells you the same story without all the frilly fillers. And aesthetically it's very pleasing because it's a cartoon that can do more things visually that you can't do with real life props. Now, if you're going to talk about costuming, obviously the long form is the best, but I think the more authentic one is the short drama. It's really weird because you can watch them all side by side and they were all made within the past few years. So it's like it's so close in proximity. I don't know. It must be a very popular IP that they made so many versions, but if I had to pick one and just want to enjoy the story, I would pick the cartoon first and then the short drama second. And then the long form, if you really love the actors and you want to watch the story. I mean, I did tell you that like, I was like, I didn't trust the Emperor when he first came out. I was like, there must be more to him. And I did
Yeah.
read like a spoiler about, not a deep spoiler, but like there's something that he's hiding from the female lead when they first met. So I was like, okay, I feel like, oh yeah, my little radar went off, and I feel validated. But other than that, it wasn't enough to compel me to be like, is this a story I want to keep going? Like, do I care that they're gonna win over the second female lead? And the second male lead is so creepy in the long format. I don't know.
Yeah, he's such a turnoff.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the original protagonist, the hero, and I'm like, why is he already giving off villain vibes? Like, I don't understand that. Like, even if the two transmigrators are supposed to be baddies and they're going up, like he should come off even more heroic. And you're like, well, how are we gonna vanquish this guy? Like instead of like, oh, he's already like semi half villain. So anyways, that's the recommendation I would give if you wanted to check out the story, and then there's like three different versions to pick from. So
No, I get that. I mean, like, I used to love watching anime, right? Japanese anime. And I have to say, like, and they'll make live action versions of the anime, which is based on manga too. And sometimes you're just like, I prefer the anime over the live action because there's limitations to what you can do with live action when the
yep.
concepts are out there. I had intentions to watch the cartoon actually a long time ago when I knew the long form was coming out, but I never got around to it. But now that I know I'm not really gonna be a devoted fan of the long form drama, I guess there's no point going back to the cartoon.
I think it's still worth checking out.
The story is not really that enticing, even though the premise was so promising for me, you know? Anyways, okay, so then moving on, we talked about the fact that because of How Dare You, you accidentally, well, not because of, while watching How Dare You, you accidentally fell into a rabbit hole
Right.
and landed in short drama land. And by short drama, we mean not like the 15, 20-minute short dramas you get on like the major platforms in China, but the vertical dramas, like the 2-minute episodes, the 1-minute episode ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah. So you actually then told me to watch this drama, and they never have English names. So I'll take a stab at this really long title. The show you gave me to watch was called 许你地久婚长, which literally translates to something like, may you be blessed with like long lasting marriage and love or something like that. Married love. 婚长, right?
I see.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, I know, really cheesy title. So, you can already tell it's about two people in marriage, but you loved it because you watched it in one
I
go.
did.
That's probably what made you sick.
I was binging when I was super tired. So YouTube recommended it. It's not officially on YouTube. Someone obviously uploaded it from some other platform, but so at least we know the act. I know the actor's name. The actor's name is Ben Wang, who I've never watched before. So, the story is very tropey. It's basically about a girl in a loveless marriage with this rich guy, and he's like, if he makes her sign a prenup. First scene, he makes her sign a prenup, like, you can't, if you fall in love with me, we must divorce. So you're like, this is kind of like, why?
Where did you come up with this? Yes.
So so I don't know what compelled me, but I was like, so I just kept watching and I was like, I'm really enjoying even though these are short dramas. So with short dramas, I guess maybe we take a step back. They're designed to be fed to you in micro bits. There's usually never a second male female lead or couple. It's you really focus on the primary couple, and they put them in sort of sometimes very crazy situations. I think this one's less crazy, which is why it was actually enjoyable for me. But it's really about two people in a very slow burn relationship because they don't know each other, but because they are now legally married, they are suddenly, together. And and there's the angst is really because he's like already set it up where you're not allowed to fall in love with me. But then she starts to develop feelings for him, and then he actually starts to develop feelings for her. But she's like, oh no, it must be all in my head. And if I break the agreement, he's gonna divorce me. And it makes her sad. She's like in love, but sad. And so I would say the chemistry between the two leads are really good. I think in total time, the whole short drama was like a little over 2 hours long. So it's like watching a movie, but with like a lot of intense like chemistry with just the leads. You don't have any side stories.
They're vignettes.
Mm-hmm.
Vignettes strung together on all of the tropiest tropes that you would expect in a romance melodrama, right? Or soap
Yes.
opera. But it scratches, what did I say? It scratches an itch, right? And when you're short on time, because it's been very busy, with life and everything else, this actually really, I think, serves a great emotional gap in the viewing experience.
Yes.
It doesn't hurt that the actors and actresses are pretty good looking. Not all of them are. Like vertical dramas, I started watching vertical dramas probably before you, I think, right? By a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's come a long way. The actors are better in it, in the acting department, and also the looks.
When you watch the long form stuff, I think the problem is they want to create romance, but because they want to retain the viewer for, the 30 episodes it'll take, they try to create a lot more gap between or distance between them and the will they, won't they, right? And I think you get hungry for that because sometimes even the endings are not very satisfying. Whereas, at least in this particular one, I'm not talking about all short dramas, but for this particular story and the way it was executed, it was done in a microdose of, oh, I want romance, I'm getting romance. And I think that's why it was really nice to watch. It wasn't it wasn't angsty where he did something terrible to her or she did something horrible to him. It was like, oh, they just have this little thing, little clause in their contract that's keeping them apart. So I think for this particular one, I really enjoyed it. And I think what has happened since watching this is that we're both more open-minded about checking out more. You actually have checked out even more since then.
What, vertical dramas?
Yeah. So like to say how we started is like, okay, we watch a long form and then the short forms are so short that you can check out so many of them. And although you did
Mm-hmm.
say that for this one that I liked and that you like, I believe you said there's like other versions of it with other actors and actresses, but it's like the
Yes.
same
Okay.
story, right?
So there's a theme here today, right? In that we talked about different versions of adaptations of How Dare You. So this other vertical drama you came across and loved, right? It is, I think, one of 7 to 9 adaptation of a similar underlying story. And this is what happens in vertical drama land. They will take the same script and make different versions depending on the cast and production company, oftentimes. So you get comparison versions. So to say just that the version itself, I'm sorry, the format itself is what makes it compelling to watch because it's easy. Like it's like junk food. I would say
Yeah.
that's almost like a disservice to the genre, right? Because you can go and watch different versions of the same story with different casts and go, no, this one I like more than that. You know, it's like watching different versions of Pride and Prejudice or Jane Eyre or, you know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
Shakespeare,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
every production has its own kind of qualities. And it really depends on which one hits the spot for you. I did watch the same drama, right, that you recommended. I did enjoy it very much, and I can see the appeal. If I had to put my finger on why, I can't tell you other than you said it really like delivers the need for this type of romance in right snippets, right? You're not left going, oh man, when are we gonna get to the payoff? Like the payoff
Yeah.
comes pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Conflict comes quickly, and so does payoff. And the actors are convincing enough where you're like, ah, yes, that is the emoting I want to see. The only thing I'll say about short dramas is that the kissing scenes are a little bit sometimes, but I think it also depends on the actors, right? Because I feel like they have to kiss so many people all the time because these shows are done like I told you in 7 to 10 day shoots, so very quickly, and it's like onto the next script. Their lips are probably like numb from kissing if they have to do a lot of kissing scenes. Like they're like, oh my god, I gotta kiss on the person. Whereas in long form, it's like, when is the kiss? Is it episode 20 or is it episode
Yeah.
40? You
I
know,
know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and is it gonna be like fish lips kiss or a real passionate kiss? So, yeah. So I think if you like the actor in that drama, the vertical one, he has a lot out there. And maybe you can go also watch one of the other, versions of the same story and come back and be like, yeah, no, I like this version more or that version more. I think you did mention like YouTube tried to recommend a similar version of the story and you
Yeah.
started and you're
Yeah.
like, this was not hitting it for you.
No, I was like, who are these Joe Schmoes? No, I'm just kidding.
Who are these
Yeah, I think
shows?
once you see one version that you like, it's like I don't necessarily need to see another version. I would like to see a new story, but not like another version of the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that
So
one was yeah, like I said, unexpected. I was just like, what is this? Like, clicked on it. Usually, you give it like 10 seconds, right? Either it gets you or it doesn't get you, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll watch this one. And then before I knew, I watched the whole thing, and yeah, and then How Dare You was quickly forgotten. It was like,
yes.
like
I
gone.
I would like to see them in How Dare You. I'm saying I would like to see Chen Lei and Wang Churan paired again, but in like a better script for my taste.
Yeah,
Like where they don't feel like you said so rehearsed in trying to be these type of characters that I don't think it always. I think it doesn't come as naturally for her as it to him. By the way, Chen Lei started in short dramas. Did you know that? So
I did not know that.
I don't think he started
Actually,
in
this
vertical
was
dramas. What?
well, you remember I was like, oh, I've never seen him before. He's pretty good. You're like, he was in that drama with yeah, was it the female
The
general?
female general, the legend
And
of
I
the
was like,
female
oh,
general.
I totally forgot that show because we
Really?
talked about
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah, I think I only watched like 2 episodes of that. So yeah, I actually liked him. I don't have a problem. Yeah, I would agree. A different script or maybe a modern drama for them would have been pretty good to watch, I feel. But yeah, unfortunately, this version did not suck me in.
Yes. And so we accidentally, went and binged some vertical dramas. Actually, I started another one that I told you to watch, but you haven't gone around to it. But that also, I highly recommend because it's just so wacky. It's called the Chinese name is very long. As it's called 糟糕和闺蜜一起穿书把反派玩坏了. Which is like literal translation is like, oh no, my best friend and I transmigrated into a book and broke the villains. Which kind of tells
It's like
you
a
what the
whole
whole story
sentence.
is about. Exactly. But it's hilarious. It's basically these two women, right? They transmigrate into books. So very similar, if you think about it, very similar setup to How Dare You, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and they're given a mission, which is to turn the two potential villains into true villains, so that then the heroine and hero can come on the scene later and defeat them. So like, and, set the story on its rightful path. And they're like, what? Like, why would we do that? But they no, the system in the novels, like, well, you'll get paid and you'll get to go back and be alive again in the real world. Because one of the girls died in the real world, which was hilarious too when she's died. Like the whole show starts with her dying in the hospital bed and going, destroy all my like pornography and not pornography, right? But like my collection of beautiful men and
Put up the muscles.
manga. Yeah. And the friend's like, I will.
The opening scene was funny already when you hear the dialogue. You're like,
Yeah.
what? This is not what I expected. But yeah, no, I'm gonna check that one out.
It's a good show. It's stupid.
I fear for the long format though, because I had heard about short dramas like last year, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it, mostly because of lack of access for me to watch them. But now they're sort of infiltrating to non-Chinese audience members, and I think it's going to be interesting how the market shifts because these long form, I would say long form is probably viewed as like more mainstream, right? And then short dramas
Yeah.
are more viewed as like, oh, subpar. But it's not going to be. It's not going to remain subpar for long. It's going to get
No.
more sophisticated, and the editing will get better. The acting will get stronger. So it is interesting to see how they will shift because any types of entertainment, there's going to be adoption, and I think adoption for vertical dramas is coming probably pretty quickly.
Yes, very big industry in China. And I think it's a good thing, though, when you have this type of competition. I think it's a forcing mechanism, I'm hoping, for, like, I still watch long dramas, right? Like, but we know that when it's too much of a time commitment, there's a better alternative sometimes to get your kicks out of the vertical versions. Or even like the web dramas that are 15, 20 minutes long versus 45, right? In Chinese
Yeah.
drama land, at least. And I think, though, it's a good forcing mechanism because you know what? When a long drama is really good, like they have to be outstanding, then you'll watch the long drama.
Yeah.
The vertical format has limitations of what it can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hopeful that maybe both sides it'll be like positive reinforcement type of competition, and who wins in the end, it will be the viewers, hopefully. So.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Well, that was a lot about nothing. We went all over the place, but welcome to Short Drama Land. Yay!
Yeah, we'll probably end up talking about those in the future. So
Yeah. No, I'm watching one right now. I might recommend you watch it, but let me finish it first. It's called
okay.
Midsummer's Vendela. I mentioned it a little bit offline, so I'll finish it and I'll let you know.
Okay. Well, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.